Sinkholes typically occur when material washes away under the surface, leaving no support for what's above. The result is the earth opening up and swallowing anything and anyone who is unlucky enough to be in that exact spot at that exact time. They are an extremely rare yet terrifying force of our planet, and one that you really have to see to believe. From China to Louisiana, here are 5 monster sinkholes caught on camera. Sinkholes occur when soil under the surface erodes away, and because this often remains unseen, there's no way to tell when or where one might happen. However, there are some areas that geologists identify as being at higher risk than normal. One of these regions is in Kentucky, specifically around Mammoth Cave National Park. This cave system covers more than 400 square miles, and because of the various hollow places in the ground, sinkholes have been known to frequently open up. Just on the edge of this danger zone is the city of Bowling Green, which is about 60 miles northeast of Nashville and 100 miles southwest of Louisville. One really amazing place in Bowling Green is the National Corvette Museum. In 2014, on a morning just before 5:30 a.m., a sinkhole formed under a museum showroom. Security cameras captured everything as it unfolded. The hole started opening slowly at first, but after a couple of minutes, it sped up. Eventually, a couple of cars fell in, followed by a couple more as the hole got bigger. It grew to 40 feet wide and nearly 30 feet deep, swallowing 8 extremely valuable Corvettes. Some of the vehicles that fell into the sinkhole were a 1992 white Corvette that was the 1 millionth built, a 1993 ruby red 40th anniversary Corvette, and the 1984 PPG pace car for the Indy 500. The cause of the sinkhole at the Corvette Museum was never determined. Sinkholes form in various ways, often taking many years. There are other times where sinkholes are caused by forces which greatly speed up the process. Underground aquifers can flood, wells can give way, or water pipes can burst, leading to a process of erosion that only takes anywhere from a few weeks to a few hours. On August 19th of 2020, in the city of Yibinshi, China, CCTV footage captured the moment a sinkhole appeared out of nowhere, swallowing an entire plaza and causing 15 vehicles to fall inside. Unlike the case in Bowling Green, Kentucky, this sinkhole did not slowly get bigger over the span of 10 to 15 minutes. Rather, the sinkhole opened up at the same time, bringing everything on the surface down with it. Luckily, it was in the middle of the night and no one was in or around the cars. So, there were no casualties or injuries reported. Investigations that were done in the wake of the event were unable to determine a cause for the sinkhole. Researchers have been studying the events very closely, especially because after everything settled, the sinkhole was full of water. This happened because water pipes were broken. Investigators were not sure whether some of the pipes were broken before or after the sinkhole opened. Back in 2012, a sinkhole opened in Louisiana that would forever change the landscape of the area. The sinkhole was in the fault of a collapsed salt mine that was operated by the Texas Brine Company. Water from the bayou found its way into the mine, eventually draining large parts of it. John Boudreau, an emergency preparedness director for the local government, was on scene one day in 2013 when suddenly the water began to churn. With his camera rolling, he captured one of the most amazing sinkholes I have ever seen.
Go on all in. Oh, that's a big one.
At first, it seems as if your eyes are playing tricks on you. Are these trees really moving? What they were seeing was a sinkhole or sloughing opening up underneath the swamp. It was an incredibly terrifying sight. Nearly a dozen full-grown trees still rooted in the ground started moving. Suddenly, they were all completely sucked down, all 30 feet of them. On top of this, the water around them saw a sudden drop in level. Toward the end of the video, if you look at the bottom of the remaining trees, you can see where the water level had been only a few seconds earlier. Nearly 2 feet of water disappeared in a matter of minutes. Following the collapse of the salt mine, residents were urged to evacuate the area. Years later, the Texas Brine Company, along with 3 others, including Occidental Chemical and Vulcan, were at fault for the collapse and were ordered to pay money to residents who were impacted. As of today, the area is still at risk. If you've ever seen other videos or pictures of sinkholes, you've probably seen them open up underneath roadways or parking lots. One reason for this is because in areas such as these, there is little to no drainage. So, when it rains and the water gets into the soil with nowhere for it to go, it can eat away at the dirt and rock underneath. The void created by the water causes the surface to collapse. This is exactly what happened when a sinkhole in China opened up in 2016. On a morning in May, CCTV cameras were rolling on a road called Chengjiang Avenue in Guangzhou in the Fujian province. There were no clear signs of what was to come when suddenly the sinkhole opens. Everything that followed happened incredibly quickly, sucking in 4 vehicles in the blink of an eye. When you take a look at the video, you can see that as everything collapses, there is a large splash that occurs as the cars and asphalt fall in. It was a clear sign to investigators of exactly what was at fault for this disaster. A lack of drainage caused water to collect, eating away at the soil. Crews responded to the scene and were able to get all of the cars out of the hole. Luckily, no one was injured in this instance. The teams also determined that much of the surrounding area was unsafe and needed to be reinforced. The road had to be closed for a number of months while the necessary construction was done. Should things have been left the way they were, there's no telling what else could have collapsed. In China, there are over 50 cities with populations of more than 1 million people, and all of them seem to always be on the move in one way or another. With roads packed to near capacity on a regular basis, it makes it near impossible to get around. This is true for things like emergency vehicles, road construction, or when a huge sinkhole is slowly opening up in a busy intersection. On this particular day, state media cameras were monitoring traffic conditions at a very busy intersection. As this was happening, they noticed a dip in the road. Crews were quickly called out to cone off a circle around the dip. All of this was done while traffic continued around them as if nothing was happening. But as the camera continued to roll, the dip started to sink lower and lower before collapsing into a 12-foot sinkhole. It was a very lucky thing for everyone that emergency personnel were already on the scene to block off the area of danger. What was even more amazing is how the traffic seemed to be either oblivious or apathetic to it all, almost as if this was just another normal occurrence in China. As opposed to a couple of other videos, there were no pools of water at the bottom of this sinkhole. No vehicles fell in, and no one was hurt. However, the intersection did end up closing for a few weeks while crews worked and eventually filled the hole in. Sinkholes are some of the scariest things that can happen at any time. Certain places are more prone to sinkholes than others, such as China and Florida. However, chances are slim that anything will ever happen. The only thing we can do is to keep our eyes open at all times. To see more videos just like this one, be sure to click the link on screen now. With that, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.